But risk must be taken, for the greatest hazard in life is to risk nothing. The person who risks nothing, has nothing, does nothing, is nothing.
But that's where the true transformation starts to happen. When you can look at people, anybody, thousands of people, one person, and say, hey, this is who I am. And this is where I have to fix myself.
If you want to be successful, here's the thing you have to do. You have to jump. There is no way around it. You have to jump. Every successful person has jumped. You got to jump. You got to take a leap of faith. You got to dash off that cliff, and you got to jump out there as far as you can.
I believe in this is for me, and that is not for me. And because that is not for me, if you do trespass into my space upon me and my family, I will do my best to cause consequences. And I'm going to let you know that. I hope that's apparent, because I'm not going to intrude on you. But if you trespass that on me, I'm going to stand up for it.
Take the biggest fucking risks of your entire life right now. Remember, you have time. And in your 20s, you can get so scared and you can be so easily lulled into the idea that good is good enough, that feeling safe and comfortable is what you should always be looking for. That way of thinking in your 20s in particular, dead fucking wrong. I want you to start to create this mindset of taking risks and going big.
I say chase your dreams, man. Do that thing, man, that keeps you up at night. That thing that bothers you, man, that makes you trip. You can't quit thinking about it. You always, that thing, man, that you wake up in the middle of the night, you got a new idea. That's what you got to chase. Because anything else, it's gonna disappoint you.
We're gonna be the biggest YouTube channel ever. I was like, I don't care, I'll f***ing die trying. Like, I'm gonna obsess and grind, and they're always like, you know, eventually you'll get burnt out. Eventually he's gonna slow down. He can't just grow like this forever. And I was like, no.
What kind of risk builds men? Risk something that we're all at least hardwired in part to do. I imagine that there's some kind of risk that builds them up and another kind that destroys them.
Well, I think constantly trying to be in rooms you don't deserve to be in. Apply to schools you shouldn't get into. Apply to jobs you shouldn't get into or you shouldn't receive.
Take a shot at girls that you don't have any.
Express friendship with men more impressive than you. Probably the most important thing for a young man is to surround yourself with, at least in the short term, men who you perceive as being higher character and more successful than you.
Why it's so important in your 20s to throw yourself into the fire, to take the risks. And if there's going to be a moment in your life where you're like, fuck it, I'm just going to go for it. And if I fail, I fail. Do it in your 20s, you know? Take the risks. Do the things that are uncomfortable and kind of like navigate yourself through it. Because really putting yourself in those uncomfortable situations, like you said, that uncomfort equals growth.
But what if you, just today, just made the decision, because they're all decisions, I've already won. I've already won. That's it. I'm alive. I've got one good friend. I've got one I'm sure every one of us can find something in our lives that we like. Things are okay. And this idea of already thinking of yourself as having won the game and the rest of life is simply, it's all after the finish line. Mm-hmm. It's anything you want to do after the finish line. Go have a good time.
What comes first, belief or action? Do you need to believe that you can do a thing before you can do it? Fake it until you make it is one option, but incredibly hard if you're introspective and have low self-belief and high standards. So what about make it until you believe it? Here are some lessons that I've learned. What have you got to lose?
Exactly. And that was it. And it was like, I have nothing to lose. And that was when I think in the last podcast we talked about this, where it's like, if everybody who's like at the bottom and feels like they have nothing going for them, reframe that as, I have nothing going for me, which also means that I have nothing to lose by taking action, it makes you a much more dangerous person.
So many lives would transform overnight if they realized my life sucks, I have nothing going for me, really means I have nothing to lose, and that makes you a very dangerous person.
And so you can flip the fact that you have nothing going for you with you have nothing to lose. And that means that you can take lots of risks very quickly and end up in the exact same position you are, which is nothing.
You know, when life throws some shit at us, you're having this baby. You're not choosing not to have this baby. You're going to go through this pain. You're going to go through the suffering. How are you going to choose to show up? Like I was talking about before, there are things out of your control. What's in your control? How can you take that power back into your own hands? And what are you going to take from it? What kind of meaning can you find from taking power out of what you feel powerless in?
Missing out on risk is that we have this big fear of this thing, when the reality is that if you risk nothing, you become nothing. You are nothing, because nothing ventured, nothing gained. You're not going to get what you want by never risking what you have. And the thing is that the things that we have aren't always material. And I think this is actually one of the big misconceptions of people who are starting out, is like, I can easily stand here and say, you were the most dangerous in the beginning because you have nothing to lose.
No one is going to beat you at being you. One of the things I like to say is, like, find what feels like play to you, but looks like work to others. So it looks like work to them, but to you it feels like play. It's not work. So you're going to outcompete them because you're doing it effortlessly. You're doing it for fun. They're doing it for work. They're doing it for some byproduct. To you, it's art, it's beauty, it's joy, it's flow.
The fear that people have when they're starting out is that they say things like, I have nothing going for me. I have no advantages. I have nothing to my name. I have no money. I have no network. I have no resources. But using Rory Sutherland's reframing, it also means that you have nothing to lose, which makes you incredibly dangerous. And I think people wildly underestimate how many shots on goal you can take when you have nothing to lose. Whereas when someone has something to lose, they have to be more and more selective about the shots they take. And so you have the perfect conditions for taking risk, because the worst case scenario is baseline, is where you're currently at. A lot of people wait for perfect conditions to start, but don't realize that starting is the perfect condition.
I like me. I like me. I would buy me a drink. I look at me now and I see all the warts. Okay, I see all the negatives more than anybody else does. I see the positives. And over the whole balance of stuff, I like me.
Enjoy it. Make the best of it. You know, it's even briefer than that. Each moment just disappears. It's gone. There's only a present moment, and it's gone instantly. So if you're not there for it, if you're stressed out or you're anxious or you're thinking about something else, you missed it. So any moment when you're not in that moment, you are dead to that moment.
Life is going to play out the way it's going to play out. There will be some good and some bad. Most of it is actually just up to your interpretation. You're born, you have a set of sensory experiences, and then you die. How you choose to interpret those experiences is up to you, and different people interpret them in different ways.
Pressure changes everything, pressure. Some people, you squeeze them, they focus. Others fold. Can you summon your talent at will? Can you deliver on a deadline? Can you sleep at night? I'm an artist. And every day I'm painting Mona Lisa. Every day. But it's a different one. It's not the same painting. So every day I wake up, even though I do the same thing, it takes a different way to get there. And the masterpiece is always myself. But to do that, you cannot have any distractions. Because if you're talking to an artist and he's trying to think about the next painting, he can't. It's impossible to listen to you and listen to what your mind and body are telling you we must do.
The biggest risk to your future isn't your competition. It's the distractions you insist on keeping in your life, rather than doing the things you know you should be doing but aren't. People delay doing things they don't like for longer than it takes to do them.
What the hell are we all waiting for to start attacking life? Waiting for the fucking stars to align? Back when I was growing up, the sun came out. All I need is a miracle. Well, guess what? That miracle ain't coming. There is no perfect time to start. You gotta start now with changing your life. We're all being tested in life. And guess what? This is one test you can't cheat on.
And if you wait till you know everything, the opportunity's gone. And that's true not just in finance, I think that's true in life.
Yes.
Right? We wait till we have absolute certainty. There's no absolute certainty in life. The only absolute certainty is faith. The fastest way to change your life is start making some real decisions.
If you start your business, you will learn more in 2 months than in 20 years of business school. Right? And you'll probably fail. but your failure will teach you. So stop waiting and just go out and start it.
Identity is the controlling force of a human being. If you are of identity that says, I always find the way to victory, you will find the victory. What makes people, by the way, miserable is when they feel events control them versus they control events. And all it is a shift in here and here, right? So your identity is everything. And so you have to be careful, because very often in life, we identify to who we were a while ago. Like if I ask someone in an event to do something, they go, I'm not that kind of person. Well, when did you decide what kind of person you were? 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago? Would you use a phone from 10 years ago? You'd be an idiot. Why would you use the same old identity?
Before you win, everyone will ask you why you're working so hard. And after you win, everyone will remind you how lucky you got. If that doesn't just go to show that most people are not worth listening to, like myself included, right?
Oh, once I've got this done, once I get my degree, then life will begin. Once I've just got to pass these exams and get to that thing and buy that house, and then I've just got to pay this off, and then I've got to and then we can start.
It's a very instrumental view of life, that everything is done in order to achieve the next thing. So at no point do you actually arrive.
But if it's meant to be, it's down to me. I've got to prove that it's worthwhile, even if that means working for free, even if that means no remuneration, even if that means extra hours away from university, even if that means missing a few lectures, even if that means missing a meal. And that's a very real thing. So deciding that it's worthwhile, that it is important to me, it's important enough to be able to do this for free.
What are you going to give up? What are you going to sacrifice? What are you willing to forgo? Because a lot of people, like this guy came in one time, I was a trainer. And he goes, man, I can stop doing anything but my frappuccinos. I go, fucking leave. When you are willing to strip yourself down to nothing and give everything, that's who I want to work with. Because now I can mold you into exactly who you want to be. When you put these restrictions up, and that's why my first question is, how bad do you want this? If it's as bad as you want to live or breathe or sleep, whatever the hell it may be.
The person you have to spend the most time listening to in your life is yourself. Try not to lose their respect. When you have an unmade decision, every single second that you spend thinking about the unmade decision could have been gotten back had you just made the decision. And realizing that it's a justification for eating frogs earlier in the day. I need to answer that email. The longer that you wait until you answer that email, the more times you will think the thought, I need to answer that email. And if we assume that what truly, truly matters in life is the time and the attention that we spend within that time, your time is being captured and your attention is being captured by a thought that could have been gotten rid of had you have just done it. Had you have just had the conversation, broken up with the relationship, left the job, told the father, whatever. Done your stretches, cleaned your teeth, had a shower, whatever it is that you needed to do. All of that anxiety cost could have been gotten rid of had you just gone and done it.
And so when I was 19 and I was terrible, I thought, perfect. This is where I'm supposed to be right now. So I had this clock that was very aware that this was going to take time, and that I had to look at the failure as the path to success.
Being great is being selfish. You have to be selfish to be great. You have to put the work in, the dedication in to be great, to be the best in the world, to win the gold medal. You have to work extremely hard. And you have to be selfish about that. It has to come first.
But the fact of the matter is if you want to be good, you really don't have a lot of choices, because it takes what it takes. You have to do what you have to do to be successful. So you have to make the choices and decisions to have the discipline and the focus.
All my life, I have schedule, I have rules, I have discipline. And for me, it's all about numbers. I have to do most of them, like all things, like on time. Like you have to wake up on like 6, 7, you have to train. After you come home, breakfast, go school, come back, do homework, train, come back, eat, sleep, repeat. It's like this.
Any person, any human realizes that if you want some kind of a good outcome, you're going to have to work hard for it. and if you don't work hard for something, you're not going to get an outcome that's really worth much.
Well, that is the thing that separates the achievements on the other side of it, right?
You gotta stop telling yourself that you're doing enough. In life, it's never enough until you feel this overwhelming feeling of shit, man. I'm outworking the crowd. I'm outworking everybody. I'm doing more. It's not until then, once you get there, that's when you fucking know you've done enough. Stay hard.
If you wake up and every day you obsess over something and you live and breathe it, and that's what you think about, that's what you do, that's what you study on and off, that's what you stay up every night grinding, and no one else even gives a flying about it, it's like, you just feel like a weirdo.
A lot of people are afraid to even try hard because then if you try hard and you fail, you feel like a failure. But the aspect of being a failure doesn't come from the success in the end. It comes from if you really quit on yourself, or if you don't put in the effort you know you can put in, and you're kind of holding back on your true potential.
All you have control over is how you direct your attention and how you comport yourself. What are the actions that you're taking, how you're responding to the world around you. And when you drill that down into the tiniest little things that you're doing every single day and try to repeat that with just rigorous, relentless consistency, that is how you move mountains, that's how you build mountains, that's how you change your life. It fucking sucks, and I wish it wasn't that way. I didn't do them willingly. I did them because I was in so much fucking pain that I was boxed into a corner and felt like the only way out was through.
You are your own worst enemy. You waste precious time dreaming of the future instead of engaging in the present. Since nothing seems urgent to you, you're only half involved in what you do.
The more you want your life now, let's say, in the future to be quite different than what you're used to, the more you need to be able to let go. Let go of patterns, let go of the way of thoughts that you had in the last years and months. Now, if nothing changes about that, there will not come a new life.
In life, folks, you cannot change your life unless you change something. If you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got.
You're always afraid to take the first step because all you see is every negative thing 10 miles down the road. But you can do anything you want. You are bound by nothing. What are you passionate about? What do you want? I mean, there are guys who work their entire life laying brick so their kids have a chance at the opportunities you have here.
You see this guy here staring back at you? Yeah? That's your toughest opponent. Every time you get into the ring, that's who you're going against. I believe that in boxing, and I do believe that in life.
Would you wake up in the morning if everyone that you love's life depended on it and be like, yeah, well, maybe I should scroll on TikTok for a little while? No, you'd be like, I'm gonna take action immediately. And so it doesn't need to be like a fear of losing everybody, but what's really behind that is like, why? Like why they're doing it.
Do everything that you feel, even if you are told that it's the wrong thing. No. But not anything violent.
So do what you feel, say what you feel. Like trust your heart.
Yeah, trust your gut. Trust your instincts, because that instinct is who God made you to be.
And I think that if most people could figure out like, oh yeah, well, I want to do this thing. Why do you want to do it? And my very first one-on-one coach used to say to me, he would say, what's your why? What's your why? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? He would like hammer it home in my head. And I was like, why do you ask this so much? And he would always say, because if your why is strong enough, your how will reveal itself. If you know why you want to do something, how it's going to be done, you'll figure out. It doesn't matter. Things are going to get in your way. There's going to be obstacles. There's always going to be obstacles. There's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be moments of like, I don't know if I can do this. But if your why is so strong, it's like, I don't care what comes up in front of me. I'm going to get it done.
Being attacked is a sign that you are important enough to be a target. You should relish the attention and the chance to prove yourself.
Yeah. Well, you know, you want, if everything is easy in life, if everyone loves what you're going to do and you have no enemies, you have no opposition, nothing to resist, you're just going to be mush. You're not going to amount to anything. You're not going to be able to push yourself. You're not going to be able to change, evolve. Muhammad Ali said, if I didn't have Joe Frazier around, I would not have become the great boxer that I am.
Wisdom comes from experience, and experience takes time. The more experience you have, the more you learn from that experience, the wiser you can get. If you haven't lived long enough to have a broad enough portfolio of experience, then you can't expect to have knowledge and wisdom.
And I would rather fall short of a big goal and consider myself a failure than lower the goals to the level which I can accomplish all of them just so I can feel like I'm a success. And it's less about the goal setting, and it's more about the mindset of being okay being the failure. Because what it does is it frees you to imagine bigger, take risks like you never imagined you could before, because failure is not the thing you're afraid of.
Like my mind was like, how this guy can stop me? I train all my life, every day, no day off. How this guy can stop me? Okay, only one way how he can stop me, like it's supposed to be like lucky punch or something like this. Otherwise, like I'm gonna try to take this guy down. If this guy stop me one time, I'm gonna try to 100 times. And it was work always.
I wanted, the military was my way to find self-esteem. I had to start building on something, and I started building on, education. Then I had to start learning how to find mental toughness. And this is where I started finding was, all I was doing was attacking the surface. I wasn't getting down into the dungeon of what was really bothering me. So
I've been building that physical vessel, this mental resilient vessel this entire time, so nothing could break me. And I needed something stronger than that to break me. And the moment it did, my whole life changed. Everything changed.
When I know I need to change something, what I do is I change it. That's what I do. I change it. If you have something to change, if you want to change something, change it. Change it now.
But you have to have the will, the heart, the courage to go that distance when you're exactly jacked up. You have nothing left to give, and give more.
That is an interesting thing about the mind, is that you can find inspiration, and when you find inspiration, when you get charged up, all of a sudden you have energy.
That's right.
It's right. It's weird.
And I talk about in the book also is about, I learned how to control my adrenals. If you know how you get that fight or flight response when you get to move real quick?
Yeah.
And I started learning the mind a lot, how to get myself jacked.
You don't see things as they are. You see them through your own fears and hopes. You don't see yourself as you are. You see the story you keep repeating about who you are. You don't see the future as it is. You see the version you believe is possible.
There's a theatrical element to the social world, which I embrace and I think is kind of fun and interesting and is part of the 48 laws of power. So when you enter the world, you're not yourself. I think it's a mistake people make. They have no distance between their inner self and their public self. So they enter the work world and people are different and weird and stuff, and they take it personally. And I try instructing people, it's not personal, it's a game. People are wearing masks. It's like something from the 18th century where people are in costumes and they're in theater and they're performing. People are constantly performing.
There's no fucking hack, bro. There's no fucking hack. Yeah, you may this and that and saunas and all this shit it's great. There is no fucking life hack. To grow that thing, how do you grow it? Do it, and do it, and do it, and do it. That's the hack. The hack is gonna fucking suck. And that's what I realized. Life, that's why I wanted to come on here today. I didn't want to come on here and talk about no fucking passion and purpose and how to get the fuck out of bed, how to hit a fucking alarm clock, and all this catchphrase bullshit. Because that wasn't how I lived. I woke up like every human being does and goes, fuck, man, I'm a fucking piece of shit today. How the hell is this gonna work out for me? And you fight that. You don't override it.
And so this success comes on the heels of years and years of failures. So it's not just a case of You can't be afraid to fail. You can't be afraid to fail again. And again. And again. It's getting back up. Some people are afraid of falling that first time. Well then, but as if, you know, if we had quit getting up, 10 years ago. So it's just getting up again and again and again.
The only consequence is failure. By the way, not trying is failing.
Yeah, well said.
I want to make that very clear.
Well said, yeah.
Not trying is failing. There's a lot of things that people can't do simply because you've never tried to do it. And I'm not saying that you should try everything. I'm not saying that you're supposed to do everything. I'm saying that for me, when someone says something and I go, no, I never did that. I have to have a reason for why I've never done it and a justification. If you ask me something and I go, no, and you just say why, and I go, that's not good enough for me.
Yeah.
I like to have a reason why, and that's the foundation that I stand on.
So don't take this the wrong way. 20 years, if you're still living here, coming over my house to watch the Patriots game, still working construction, I'll fucking kill you. That's not a threat, what? That's a fact. I'll fucking kill you. What the fuck are you talking about? Look, you got something none of us have. Oh, come on. Why is it always this? I mean, I fucking owe it to myself to do this and that. What if I don't want to? No. Well, fuck you. You don't owe it to yourself.
The man who never failed, has no glory. The man who fell and got back up, that's where his glory is. The man who fell 20 times and got up 21 times, that man has even greater glory. Wow. That man has more courage, way more courage than the guy who was so strong from birth that he never failed. There's no glory in that.
What I want to do is dramas, but Hollywood won't offer me no matter how big of a pay cut I take. So I said, all right, if I can't do what I want to do, I'm gonna quit doing what I've been doing. So chose to, boom, go to the ranch in Texas. Camilla's pregnant. Told my agent, no more rom-coms, Don't know how long that's gonna last. Made that decision with Camilla, and we said, look, we're gonna make this decision. There's no telling how long we're gonna go with that work. But if we're making the decision, like Australia, it's non-negotiable. We're not going back on it.
I will never wish for fewer epic stories at the end of my life. And I've never regretted failures. I've always regretted things that I didn't try. And so just along those lines of trying to create more bias internally towards action rather than inaction, and normalizing consequences of failure as we said earlier, win or learn.
It's you, when all that fear that's in your head, all the what ifs and the scenarios that you create inside your own mind that are way worse than anything that is actually going to happen, they all disappear when you go. So just take action and start moving forward.
Everybody has dreams. Following your dreams is a lonely, solitary, scary, dangerous pursuit. You can't wait for somebody to think you can do it. And it's like because they don't think you can do nothing they can't do.
Exactly, bingo.
Right? You know what I mean? It's like it's a lonely, scary, dangerous pursuit, and you got to be willing to risk everything to become that seed of what you believe is in there. You got to be fearless. You got to be relentless.
The life that you want is on the other side of the difficult conversations you're unprepared to have.
The greatest of all qualities to guarantee success is the absolute willingness to go at anything and refuse to stop until you achieve it. And you know something? The statistics show that 95% of the goals that you set for yourself, you will achieve if you refuse to quit.
A year isn't 365 days. It's 52 chances, 12 chapters, and 4 seasons. Your life can change this year. Not because the year is magical, but because you are capable. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need certainty. You don't need confidence. You need momentum. You need one decision. You need one step, and you need to remember this. 1 year of intention can undo 10 years of drifting.
My mind doesn't think I can do it. I'm severely underestimating my strength that I can't pick this can up. But when I get to the gym, I need to overpower my mind and just do it. I need to understand that I still have the muscle, I still have the strength. I'm just being a lazy little bitch right now, and I need to pick up that weight and do it and overpower it.
If you're in it and you have said, this is what I'm destined to do and I'm going to give my all, and every day I show up with 100%, regardless of the outcome, I'm showing up with 100%. That day gonna come. Whenever it comes, I'm gonna be ready. It's gonna come. I'm gonna get my just due and my fulfilling like need and energy and want for knowing that I have just delivered for myself. That's what I compete with. That's why I look at the mirror.
I mean, you're sitting on a winning lottery ticket. You're too much of a pussy to cash it in. And that's bullshit. Because I'd do fucking anything to have what you got. So would any of these fucking guys. It'd be an insult to us if you're still here in 20 years. Hanging around here is a fucking waste of your time.